Steps to follow. In this section of the short course, I've mapped out one way that you can create and conduct an acknowledgement of country, from starting steps such as engaging and consulting with traditional owners, all the way through to conducting your acknowledgement of country and reflecting upon your acknowledgement of country. So steps to follow. We're going to look at these steps in greater detail. First step being find out whose country, engage and consult research, reflection, decide on type of acknowledgement of country that you will conduct, drafting your acknowledgement of country, finalizing your acknowledgement of country, conducting your acknowledgement of country, and reflecting on your acknowledgement of country. So thinking about some key questions so that you can improve your acknowledgement of country for future opportunities. So there are many ways that you can conduct your acknowledgement of country. You can find your own way and your own method, your own steps along the way. It is my belief that it is foundational to find out whose country you are conducting an acknowledgement of country on. So it's really important that you engage and consult with a traditional custodian, owner, or elder. And there are many ways that you can engage and consult with them. Some places I've written here in this list are ways that you can find where these traditional custodians, owners or elders may be based in the community, or, key contacts to help you, introduce yourself to them, meet with them, and then engage and consult with them. So some examples are language advisory group. There may be one in your community. These may also be known as an Aboriginal Education Consultative Group or an Education Advisory Board. Another starting point is your local Aboriginal Land Council and Local Council, Native Title Representative Body, Prescribed Bodies Corporate, which may be, a land trust, local community organisations. So from the list I've provided, it might be easy enough just to type one of those dot points into Google, for example, local Aboriginal Land Council, and with your approximate location to where you are or where you're conducting an acknowledgement of country, and then follow the leads. It should or may take you to what you're looking for to find out how you can then reach out to a traditional custodian, owner or elder, or find the information that you need. Regional Office Network, the IATSIS map, which is the map of Indigenous Australia. I do want to make note that this is a rough guide. Boundaries aren't always accurate, so be discerning in the way that you use that particular source. And then the first languages map that's on that final dot point there as well. So there are a number of links or, recommendations of places for you to start looking to find out whose country you are conducting an acknowledgement of country on. The next step is to engage and consult with the traditional custodians, owners, and elders once you know who they are. Contact them early to allow plenty of time for discussions, questions, and responses. So they're not always, available. So reaching out as soon as possible will make sure that you're able to meet your outcomes that you hope to achieve with your acknowledgement of country. And also being mindful that, they have other commitments as well. And if I can encourage you to reach out to them and position yourself to meet them where they are, that also shows your intentions for respect as well. Introduce yourself by who you are and where you come from. In my experience working with First Nations people and also being a Gugiyalanji Bama myself, starting with who you are and where you come from is a great way to make connection from the get-go. And also keep in mind and be prepared to remunerate traditional custodians and owners for requesting a welcome to country or for their time when it comes to lengthy engagement and consultations related to an acknowledgement of country. So if you're asking them for a huge sacrifice or a lot of their time, because they are providing you with expertise and knowledge as well, and often intellectual property, it is best practice to pay them for that time and knowledge. Research the First Nations history of the lands where you will conduct an acknowledgement of country. If you're going to deliver an acknowledgement of country in Townsville in far north Queensland, find out more about the history, culture, and country there. If you're going to deliver an acknowledgement of country in Tasmania, in Launceston, find out more about the history, culture, and country. And again, anywhere else in Australia, make sure that you are taking the time to find out more. Consider, what is special about their country? Is it coastal, rainforest, or desert country? Are there mountains or rivers? Know the context for where you're going to deliver an acknowledgement of country. Are there any areas of special significance that are publicly known? So rather than just jumping onto Wikipedia or one particular source from a Google search engine, it's always a good idea to find several sources that often say the same thing. And even better than that, start with the traditional custodians, owners, elders. In your engagement and consultation with them, ask the questions so that you can use this information to personalize your acknowledgement of country and to demonstrate the utmost respect that you can when you're doing it. Reflection. Reflection is really important in this whole entire process. You want to reflect on the context, knowledge, and confidence. Do you know the name of the traditional custodians or owners? Are there disputes about the land due to undetermined native title claims or multiple traditional custodians or owners having connection to the country, etc.? Do you feel confident in your own voice? Are you able to link to the topic or theme of the event? Are you delivering online or virtually? And is it mainly children present? Thinking about some of these questions, that will help the shaping of your acknowledgement of country. The way you draft it, the way you finalize it, the way you conduct it, and also how you might even improve your acknowledgement of country for future opportunities. So I've put together a little flowchart here to help you consider which acknowledgement of country you will prepare. So by answering these questions, just one at a time, first question is, do you know the name of the traditional custodians or owners? If you do, then go to the next question. If you don't, and the answer is no, then you're going to deliver a general acknowledgement of country. And we've already had a look at the examples of an acknowledgement of country and these different forms, general, localized, personalized. So I hope that this chart will help you to make your decision to where you feel competent and confident and which acknowledgement of country you're going to conduct. I have some recommendations for drafting your acknowledgement of country. And these are some key points that we've already looked at. Start strong with I acknowledge. Decide whether you are going to use the words traditional custodians or traditional owners. Say the name of the traditional custodians or owners if you know whose land it is. If there are multiple traditional custodians or owners who have connection to the country, name both or all of them. Use thank you rather than welcome to. Use present tense vocabulary, for example, ongoing, maintain. Distinguish between Aboriginal people and or Torres Strait Islander people. Pay respect to elders past, present, and future, not emerging. Use culturally appropriate and specific vocabulary where possible. For example, Gulgialangi rather than Aboriginal or Indigenous. Avoid vocabulary like Aborigine or acronyms such as ATSI. Where possible and appropriate, use traditional names before English names. For example, here in Jule, also known as Daintree, where we gather today. Capitalize words to demonstrate respect. For example, traditional custodians, traditional owners, elders, First Nations, Aboriginal, Indigenous. And finally, decide if you are going to also acknowledge other First Nations individuals who may be present. Like I've already mentioned, these are the recommendations from my personal experience and knowledge of this topic. Over time, I've heard many acknowledgements of country, and these are the few key points that I've, thought of when I've listened to the acknowledgements of country, and also in my own creation of acknowledgement of country. These are probably the key considerations and recommendations that I've used to improve the quality of my acknowledgement of country. Here are some recommendations for finalising your acknowledgement of country. If you are able to, seek feedback from a traditional custodian, owner, elder in regards to correct pronunciation and appropriate wording. If you are unable to seek feedback from a traditional custodian, owner, or elder, seek feedback from colleagues, families, and friends. Learn to pronounce language words correctly. Listen carefully. Repetition will improve your competence and confidence. Start with a personal introduction, who you are and where you come from. If you have a reconciliation action plan, you could find common words and themes to link into your acknowledgement of country. If relevant, you could involve children in creating an acknowledgement of country, for example, actions to words, or have them contribute some of the words as well. If relevant, you could involve the audience when conducting your acknowledgement of country, for example, repeat statements after you. Reflect on the ancient and rich history of First Nations culture, the oldest living culture on the planet, and feel into those emotions that come up to support your sincerity and your genuineness to pay respect to the traditional custodians or owners. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Practice will ensure that you improve your acknowledgement of country. Here are some recommendations for conducting your acknowledgement of country. If conducting an acknowledgement of country is new for you, have a script if that makes you feel more comfortable. For more experienced individuals, work towards speaking without prompts. Conduct your acknowledgement of country after emergency procedures, but before general housekeeping. Take your time and conduct it with authenticity. Be conscious of how you transition to the next topic of conversation in a respectful way once your acknowledgement of country has been conducted. Here are a few questions to support you in reflecting on your acknowledgement of country. Once you've conducted your acknowledgement of country, think about what worked well, what could be improved, and what are my next actions.